Hello everybody, how's it going today? Let's get into a technical analysis for Bitcoin. It's been a very long time since I've actually made a video because I've still been settling into France here. So I want to thank all of my viewers for being here with me today and for especially welcoming me and supporting me through a big change in my life. I'm now in Marseille, France, where I landed on Thursday. So I've been here officially for about 3 evenings, and I'm settling into here very nicely at my Airbnb, where I rented it out for about a month so far, and then I plan to go to another province. But other than that, I'm not going to tell you guys too much about my personal stuff. I want to keep this a very professional video. That's because it's the way that I would like to present myself to you guys in my technical analysis video, right? I think that the market is it's put it this way, okay? I want to present myself in a professional way when I do technical analysis videos because there's just too much money involved. And the last thing I want to do is be seen as a child or immature doing this, right? So the first thing that I always want to do, guys, is take a look at coin market cap. And what we realize is we're at 223,000 or $223 billion, right? It's fairly significantly low. We're going to talk about Ripple another time, okay? Ripple momentarily overtook Ethereum, which is actually pretty big news. So what I always like to do is I go to 24-hour volume, okay? And then I go to historical data. And then once you go to historical data, it gives you an overall representation of the volume over the past 24 hours. And what we see on September 21st, which was, today is still considered September 22nd, right? Because the daily hasn't technically closed yet. I don't really know what time it closes here in Europe. It's a different time, right? Because I'm used to it at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, whatever time that is. So I think in like 2-3 hours, it's actually going to close for the 22nd, even though we're on the 23rd here already. So what we noticed, we'll call it yesterday, is that at $6.5 billion, we have significantly picked up in 24-hour volume. Now, I want to be very clear to you guys about my personal perspective for the medium to longer term time frame, which is anywhere between 3 to 6 months, in my personal opinion. I am bearish, okay? There has been absolutely no fundamental change in the fundamental world, okay? Trump hasn't announced anything like, I accept a Bitcoin and I believe it's going to revolutionize the world. Okay, nothing radical like that has happened whatsoever. I firmly believe that the reason why this support has held for so long at these particular levels is simply because of sheer will and determination for Bitcoin to actually succeed. But if we look at the 24-hour volume, we were trending anywhere between $3 to $4 billion, right? And now we're at about $6.5 billion. So what happened in this particular time frame? So we'll take a look at that in very close detail right away. But first of all, what I always recommend to people to do is draw this, guys. Draw your supports and your resistances, okay? And what you see here, let me have a sip of some water. I'm just kidding, I'm having some Chinese beer in France. So what we see here, guys, is that right there is one, that's second, third, fourth. 4 touches here already. It's fairly bearish if you actually look at it from this perspective, right? Really hard to argue against that. I mean, just look at it, guys. Just the basic mechanics so far of a triangle, right? How can we argue against a triangle where it's descending in this particular manner? The bears will constantly push on it. How do I go to, I don't want to have to do this every time. Okay, there we go. We're in drawing mode. The bears are constantly trying to push it down, right? With lower highs every single time. But the bulls are defending at the same price point. Now we have to ask ourselves, how many times, okay? How many times can the bulls defend, but they cannot push it up to a higher high until the bears eventually take over? Now that's a really important question that we always have to ask ourselves. Always question yourselves, guys. Every time something happens in the market, ask these types of questions because you have to be able to rationalize things that are happening in the market, right? So just from a very basic analysis first, we say to ourselves, all right, well, we got ourselves to the 0.618 fib level every single time. Every time, guys, 0.618 fib level, and then it started to downtrend. We got ourselves to the 0.618 fib level, and it downtrended. And here, it didn't even get close to the 0.618 fib level, right? That's pretty scary right there. We got about to the 0.5, almost the golden ratio level, but not quite. And right now, guys, we're already getting a fairly bearish candle here, okay? Take a look. This is like a hanging man type of candle, but doesn't mean that the momentum is simply going to wither away, okay? So what we see from this low and that low there is that it actually did gain strength. So I do believe that we are going to be pushing for this resistance right here. I think we're going to push up to anywhere between 6,800 and to 7,000 again. Right now, the high is 6,840, okay? So let's also do a check. We should always be checking constantly what ratios we're at, okay? So what we notice right here is that we're at the 0.5 Fibonacci level. Every time we get to a Fibonacci level, there will either be resistance or support. In this case, we got to the 0.5 Fibonacci level, and then we ended up rejecting downwards from the 382 level where we found support, almost hitting and striking the 236 level. Now the question is, are we going to get here, right? Notice how every time it moves at a very, very similar rate and angle. You guys see what I mean? Right, we take it from the low here. Are we going to reach right there? Because if we do, we will be right within the 0.618 level and the golden pocket. So for those that don't know what the golden pocket is, let me just give you guys a really quick education, okay? This is the golden pocket right there, which is found between the 618 and the the 618 and the 6.5 level for Fibonacci. Think of it as a pocket that catches it, right? It extends slightly below or above the 618 Fibonacci region, and then it ends up catching it at the 6.5. So these are the key regions that I'm going to be watching out for. 69 to 7,000 roughly, between basically 6,850 and 7K is going to be a very major price point for a lot of people, just based on a very simple Fibonacci retracement and also a trend line analysis, right? So what do we watch for, guys? We watch for a breakout, okay? We watch for a breakout because if the bulls can end up breaking out of this massive resistance that has been established since the all-time low this year of since February 6th, where we reached a high of about 11,315 since early Marchish, around there, right? Can we break outside of this massive resistance? If we do break out of it, there's going to be many interim highs that will act as resistance. Of course, the first range will be simply here, right? The first range will be between 73 and 7,400, and the next one will clearly be right around these ranges as well, between 8,200 and 8,500. So these are where these resistances will act. Now, the ultimate goal, honestly, would be to shatter through here. So a lot of bulls and bigger players are basically waiting right now, okay? They're waiting to make a big play. Now remember that every resistance eventually turns into a support, or once it's broken, and a support will turn into a resistance as well, okay? That's really important for you guys to remember. So if we do end up breaking here, I really doubt we're going to first of all shatter this resistance right here and then break through this range as well above the 74.41 range. What's most likely to happen is the bulls will want to break clear out of it enough, right? So some people will act as a team. They'll act as a team and they will rally. The word rally comes from the fact that many people gather together and work as a team. And once they do that, they can break clear of a resistance. And then there's the people like me as well who will add a small position to there to help out the team. And then I will wait, guys. I will actually wait for retracement down to here to see if this old resistance can eventually turn into a support. Because if it does turn into support, then of course we've got a chance to break into higher highs. Now that is the bullish scenario, right? Now let's talk about the bearish scenario really quickly as well. I don't want to make this video too long, guys. I want to keep it very, very much so to the point, professional as well, no jokes whatsoever. I'm all joked out, to be quite honest, okay, guys. I'm honestly all joked out because I went to a Michelin star restaurant tonight, and that was kind of a joke for 200 euros, and I didn't even have sushi because I got too full, and it was literally only 3 dishes and sake that I got. Really expensive, super expensive. So that was the biggest joke already of the day. That doesn't really count as a joke in the video though, okay? And another thing I want to talk about is that, guys, we have now had a golden crossover for the first time on a 2-day chart, okay? That's actually really significant. What is a golden crossover? Let me explain it to you guys, okay? Or sorry, not golden crossover, death cross. Death cross is when 55 EMA is below the 200 EMA. It's not exactly the 55, but we'll just call it the 55 in this case. It's really the 50, that's a traditional term, okay? So here we have the 55 EMA, that is yellow, and we have the 200 EMA, that is the white, okay? And whenever this happens, it's never a really good sign when it crosses over, right? Of course, the bulls can come to the defense and simply try to move it back above it, and we get a golden crossover where the 200 EMA will now end up becoming below the 55 EMA again, okay? But in my opinion, guys, I'm really sorry to say it, you don't want to hear this, okay? But this could get severely delayed. Like this could get pushed back a lot. Like we never ever know, right? We can end up getting, you know, like to even next year, depending on how you perceive these wicks as well. Like if I extend it right here from wick to wick, I'm now all the way to January, right? Just as an example, if I wanted to do the worst case scenario and actually just account for the worst possible case, almost to February, right? If I draw it like that, if I consider it like this, for example, I could be considering the end of this triangle in December, right? It really depends on how you view this. But in my opinion, guys, what's going to happen is we're most likely going to, let's just extrapolate some information, okay? There are those who extrapolate and there are those who, for all you engineers out there. Okay, I made a joke in the video. I'm sorry, guys, I didn't mean to joke around. Bitcoin is serious, okay? We gotta not joke around. So let's just say we extrapolated some information where this actually extends out like that, okay? Something like that. Now let's draw another line like that, okay? Let's just say the white goes like this, okay? So in my opinion, what will eventually happen is, yeah, sure, we'll try to break above the 7K, but we're also gonna get a wick that rejects, okay? We're gonna get a wick with a really big candle that ends up rejecting like that. Just, I'm being hyperbolic right now, I'm embellishing a little bit, right? It's just more so to give you guys an example. Now we have to consider many things, right? For example, this was a clear support that was established. So what we see is that a wick likes to poke below our support or above our resistance, just like that. So in my opinion, what will happen, because there's absolutely no fundamental change, guys. Not only that, it is the year of regulation for crypto. I'm in a country, France, that is literally the least blockchain friendly country. Maybe not the least, but they're definitely not pro about it like how Americans are or Canadians are, right? I'm sure some people are here, but a very small minority because of political views, right? So anyways, you know, until every country gets on board and there's a major announcement and a mass media adoption worldwide, I just cannot see Bitcoin being very bullish until something like that happens, right? But my point is here, guys, this is called an attempt to cross over back above to a golden cross region. I don't think that's going to happen, to be quite honest. And because it's not going to happen, what the bulls will most likely do is they're going to attempt to break up above it, and there's going to be a wick. Who knows how long the wick is going to be and how long the body is going to be, but nevertheless, this wick will attempt to break above the 55 and the 200 EMA, thus being rejected by the bears. And once it gets rejected by the bears on a higher time frame, it will be very implicative that we won't break out of it. That's one possible scenario, okay? Now, another possible scenario is that the bulls simply got trapped and they're going to get played. So what could happen, second one, is that, let's say it breaks out above there, we just cross above it very quickly again, just like this, right? Do you guys see right there? The green candle there ends up becoming like a, kind of like a doji candle or a bear spinning top that's still green with a twin tweezer pair combination, just like that. Not a twin tweezer pair candle, but just the tweezers of the wick itself, right? So we cross over and then people are eluded to the idea that we are going to break out of it, but instead the bears end up slamming some massive walls in these regions, and you guys literally filled up, or we literally filled up there, whoever ends up going long on it fills up the shorts of all these people that are bears, and then they just keep stacking and stacking, and that's what these bigger players can do to us. We're nothing but tiny little minnow in the great scheme of things, and we can only follow the current. We can only follow the way that the market is actually moving, and whether you guys have $1 million or two, I'm sorry, you don't, that's not enough money to move the Bitcoin market, guys. You gotta have like 20, 30, $50 million to actually have any sway in the market. So I do believe that the bears could end up trapping the bulls, and there will be many, many traps. So this is basically how you take each other's money. We have to remember that every single day, it is just a matter of trying to figure out how to take each other's money, right? So that's one thing, that's the second thing that can happen of the four, say. Next thing that can happen, of course, is this is the least likely scenario, in my opinion, okay? The least likely scenario is we just break out of there and start this massive $20,000 bull run again. Not really likely to happen, in my opinion, okay? Volume is just waning off, if you guys have noticed, okay? It's just waning off right now. Market cap is so low. It's more so altcoin season, if you've noticed. A lot of the altcoins are going on a very decent bull run, especially because of Ripple's adoption and new fundamental technology that it's been released, but we won't get into that, right? So Bitcoin could just soar to the skies and set new limits or new highs. Not likely though. And the more likely scenario, in my opinion, is that we just end up downtrending after we hit the top as well, right? And then the question is, will this support finally hold around 6,000 to 6,100 range, or will it break down? And my guess is that it will break down. Now, personally, what I will be doing, guys, I'm very sorry to say, but I'm more bearish than bullish because of all the fundamental news, which is kind of zero positively on a major scale. Of course, there's more adoption. It's still very slow though. I still consider us as the very early adopters of Bitcoin, and it will take a lot of time to generate mainstream media attention, right? It has before when it reached some astronomical numbers, but in terms of adoption, we're kind of far from there right now, guys, okay? So I just wanted to give you guys my quick two thoughts, just simply based on this. And I also wanted to show you guys the weekly as well, okay? So the weekly right now, how is it looking? Decent, okay? It's definitely looking pretty decent. We still have about 2-3 days to go because like right now, we're technically still on Friday's closing, right? And then we still have Saturday and Sunday. So 2 days to go, looking very, very bullish so far with nice hammer. That is why I believe for the next week or two, we could be easily trending towards this 6,900 to 7,000, maybe 7,100 range, right? That could very, very well be so. Isn't it crazy how 2 weeks ago, guys, we got this huge bearish engulfing candle that was wiped out, that completely wiped out the entire progress. Here it took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks for progression. And here it took 2 weeks to completely destroy all progress. Here it took 3 weeks, 1 week, right? Here it's a very, very slow week. And this is a fairly bearish, or sorry, bullish candle with a volume that picked up. But guys, grand scheme of things right now, we don't really know if this is actually going to pick up and spike up to a very, very bullish level or not. Yes, the histogram does say that it is possible, but keep in mind that there's been many times as well where the histogram will only tick up for a week or two or a day or two, and then it becomes bearish again. So my personal play will be to most likely end up shorting when it gets close to the 69 to 7K region. But of course, I'm not going to short it blindly. As a day trader, it will all depend, guys. It will all depend on what the level 2 looks like and what the price actually looks like at that given time, right? You can only make really good estimates simply based on what is going on at that current time, right? And you just need a lot more data. All the time, data is constantly coming in, so we have to reevaluate the way that we see our positions as well, right? So right now we're trending below the 55 EMA. Now, don't get me wrong, it's possible for us to simply break out of here to higher highs. We are gaining strength, but we are also losing strength as well, right? But because we're getting lower lows, or sorry, low highs. But if we look on here, right, every time, it's not that accurate as well because we are getting higher lows on a very micro type of level. So let's go look on the monthly and see how this is looking as well. We're about 2/3 done the month, right? It's still a fairly bearish candle in my opinion. This is kind of like a bullish spinning top, but it's still bearish because it's red. I mean, if the month could close above the opening, which is 7,013, that would be phenomenal. But the chances of us closing above that right now is kind of slim, right? And then we would actually end up getting a doji green candle. So my long-term analysis, guys, I'm very sorry to say, but it's fairly bearish right now. And I think that we are simply just prolonging the inevitable. See, notice right here, this was a really big bullwhip, right? We ended up surging about 9% in a, how quickly was it? Was it in a 5-minute candle? Whoa, it was in a, not even a 5-minute candle. I think it was in a 1-minute candle. Yeah, it was in a 1-minute candle, guys, where someone decided to take profit, okay? Trust me, someone decided to take profit. He spiked down the market 3% and ended up selling how much? He ended up, or someone ended up selling 100, hold on, I can't even see it right here. He ended up selling 2.844K Bitcoin. 2,844 Bitcoin is what he ended up selling that. So what was that at? I don't think it was, let's say 2,800 times, we'll say 6,500 average. He ended up dumping $18 million into the market in a single minute candle. And of course, the bulls came to the rescue. Not only did it spike down, but it completely spiked back up to a higher high for a short term as well. So anyways, these are my thoughts for Bitcoin, guys. I wish I could tell you more than that about what's going on, but as a day trader, guys, I generally don't believe that we're going to get into higher highs right now, like for a very, very long time. It could take months, it could take a year, right? But I just cannot see 2018 as being a bullish year based on what we've seen so far. Now, there's still time for us to be proven wrong, but I kid you not that between the 69 and 7K level, that's where I'm going to be watching for. Like, I will add to my short there if and only if we do find a level 2 and the price action in the bear's favor. But if there's these green massive volumes that looks like it's going to break out of it and not a bull trap, I might even add a tiny bit to my position to go long, wait for a retracement like I showed you, where we bounce off of the support that was previously the resistance, and then we just go from there. So anyways, thank you very much for watching this video and for all the support and love. Greetings and cheers from France. Santé, mes amis. I just hope you guys know that j'ai oublié tout mon français, mais je vais étudier pour une fille. Celia, if you're watching this, I'm going to study it just for you. I missed you already. Celia is an awesome person that I met in Montreal, and I'm really sad that she couldn't make it out to me here in France, but there's still lots of time for her to come down here. I hope you change your mind, and I'm saying that publicly. Have yourselves a good night, guys. Take care. Bye now.